Boy, that would have been a tough one to lose, even to go to extra innings. But Sal Frelick saves the day. We'll get to all that and a wonderful win in Anaheim against the LA Angels. Locked On Brewers is next.
You are Locked On Brewers, your daily Milwaukee Brewers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Boy, we're not even at the halfway point of the season so far. And I feel like, man, there's been so many twists and turns and exciting finishes, heartbreaks so far with the Milwaukee Brewers this year. It's been one of those kind of seasons, man. And we got a long way to go in this. How you doing, everybody? Chuck Freeman, Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Get us on Google, Spotify, Apple, on all the major downloads, wherever you download your podcasts. Go and make sure you favorite us. Please go there. We're on all sorts of platforms. We're the number one Brewer podcast on the internet because of you great Brewer fans out there. And, of course, go to our growing YouTube page, search Locked On Brewers, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell. That'll alert you every time we drop an episode here on Locked On Brewers. All right. For those of you who stayed up late, man, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But some of you guys, I hear that you don't, you got to get up early in the morning, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. I get that. You can't stay up for these West Coast games. So that's why I try to lead it off these West Coast games by giving a little game recap. We're not going to go, position score by score here, but some of the highlights. And we're going to take you right to Sal Frelick there in the bottom of the 9th inning. The Brewers in this game had a 6-0 lead, what looked to be a comfortable 6-0 lead heading into the bottom of the 6th inning. And things unraveled. Hernandez couldn't get anybody out. Payamp certainly couldn't. And finally, the Angels had pushed 3 runs across, had runners at first and second, and they had to bring in the closer, McGill. You didn't want to have to use McGill on this night, but you did. So 6-3, 2 guys on, tying run at the plate with Taylor Ward at the plate for the Angels. And, man, he strokes one to center, just to the right of center. And going back is Frelick. You had to hold your breath for a second, reaches up, comes down with a big smile, and the ball reaches over the yellow line in Anaheim and makes the catch to save the day and take away a 3-run home run. Brewers had just given up 3 in the bottom of the 9th, and that would have tied it right there. Wow. I don't remember ever seeing a team come from a 6-0 deficit in the bottom of the 9th inning. Ever. I don't remember ever seeing it. And that would have been a first for me. I mean, that was just unbelievable. But Frelick reached up, made the play, made the start in center field. They gave Blake Perkins the day off, but Frelick saved the day for this team. But I feel like so many guys have come up big for the Milwaukee Brewers, but that was the play of the year right there. It wasn't Blake Perkins throwing out that runner at home plate on Sunday. Although 2 games now, the last 2 victories for the Milwaukee Brewers, end on defensive plays, great defensive plays. But how about Frelick making that catch over the wall in center field? Play of the night. Of course, if you go to the networks, you barely even, this game will probably not even show up on any of the highlight reels, but it was the play of the night. There's no doubt about it. Sal Frelick coming through with that type of catch. And yeah, do we wish Sal Frelick was hitting better than 262? I guess it's not. 262, it's not the worst in the world. He's not hitting 220. I did think his power numbers would be a little bit better. He's got 2 of them on the season. I thought he would, go Yahtzee a little bit more than that. And maybe that's still to come. But Frelick contributes with a big, he had 2 hits as well, but a big blow there. And how cool was that? So that wasn't the only big star of the game. There were a couple of other stars in this game. Let's go to Tobias Myers. Tobias Myers, where would the Brewers be, without Tobias Myers and Colin Ray? in their pitching rotation. Tobias Myers, a career journeyman minor leaguer. Colin Ray, a career journeyman, period. Both guys have come through solid for the Brewers. And you look at this run that Tobias is on. One run he's given up, one earned run in his last 3 starts, covering 20 innings. Goes out there and goes 6 shutout on Tuesday night. Just a great performance. The guy is pitching like a 10-year veteran out there. I mean, if this guy did come up from the minors, career minor leaguer, and give them what they need right now, we're all talking about getting pitching and all that, but guys like Colin Ray and Tobias Myers are doing it for the Milwaukee Brewers on a consistent basis too. Now, is it going to last for, like I said, we got a long way to go in this season, a long way to go. Is this going to be something that they're going to be able to sustain? I don't know. But Myers looks like he's got pretty good stuff. Colin Ray too, throws strikes, first pitch strikes. Those two guys, gotta love them. Gotta love what they're doing with the Brewers so far. And again, contributing to another win. It'll be interesting though, when some of these guys come off the injured list for the Brewers, where Tobias Myers, you can't take him out of the rotation at this point. DL Hall comes up. Okay. He gets off he gets done with his rehab. Are you going to take Myers out of the rotation from DL Hall? Certainly not. Joe Ross comes back from his back. You got to take Tobias Myers out of the rotation the way he's going. Certainly you can't set him down now. No, Myers was coming up here to be a stopgap, but now you can't take him out of the rotation. You can't. Rodriguez you'd set down, but Tobias Myers, no. I mean, if multiple guys, several of those guys come off the injured list from that rotation, you can't send Myers down. He's here until he starts failing. And Ray is going to be here until he really, really starts failing. Ray's anchored into that rotation. But, man, Tobias Myers, another big effort on the hill for him. I love watching him pitch. Cool. And he said this after his last outing. Last week, I believe it was against the Blue Jays. We were interviewing him in front of his locker, and he was talking about, hey, man, he's not he doesn't feel like he's out there pitching 150 miles an hour. When I say not his pitches are 150 miles an hour, but the game is slowed down for Myers. He's not going out there and overthinking things. He feels more comfort. He has settled into a comfort zone, and certainly you saw that on Tuesday night. Jackson Chourio. To me, that's an inside the park home run. He hit a ball down the first base line, circled the bases in 14.7 seconds. 14.77, I think was most accurate. The fastest StatCast in Brewer history, the fastest StatCast of rounding the bases in the major leagues this year. Just phenomenal. And the only reason why they did not give him a 3-run home run, they said the Angels right fielder, the ball went off the side of the wall there. He didn't touch it. It went by him. That's an inside. To me, Jackson Chourio, that's an inside the park home run. And you know what? The Angels, if they're guilty of anything, laziness. I mean, laziness getting to that ball. Laziness getting the ball back into the infield. Laziness on the relay throw home. The relay throw home had a lot of air under it as well. But credit Chourio for the hustle. 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 Again, out hustling, outworking other teams. That's the 2024 Milwaukee Brewers. Out hustling. Jackson Chourio. 3 RBIs of the night, 2 RBIs he gets there. So that's a double and an error. He scores no RBI there on the air. But man, Jackson Chourio, huge. Now, there were some disappointing things that happened. We'll talk about that bullpen here in a little bit. But Christian Yelich, his 200th career home run. We'll get to that coming up next here on Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. By the way, this show is brought to you by Prize Picks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB. Use the promo code, all lowercase, LockedOnMLB for that first deposit match up to $100. I should have said that right out of the gate. My apologies. Again, we'll talk about Yelich coming up next here on Locked On Brewers. eBay Motors, I tell you about this guy down the street who's working in his garage. You know, he's not a sports fan. He's one of these guys who works on his cars. He's in the cars, he's in racing and all that. That's fine. And I'm not saying racing's not cars, but he works on his cars. But he's been working in, and I knew this, through eBay Motors. He gets all his parts. He works on a couple of different cars out there. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, whatever this guy is doing, he's doing it through eBay Motors. They got him covered. 122 million parts for your number one ride or die. You always find exactly what you're looking for. With eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time, your money back, because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. All the parts you need, the prices you want. It's easy to make your car the MVP of your neighborhood as well. Bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive. ebaymotors.com, ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Also, the folks over at Tax USA. Hey, you know what? It's collection season. Just because tax season is over doesn't mean the IRS is going to stop coming after you for your unfiled taxes. The IRS can garnish your wages, levy your bank accounts, even seize your property. Don't let the IRS target you. Get the licensed professionals at Tax Network USA. Let them go to bat for you. They're the tax experts. Tax Network USA. Over 14 years experience. They have an A+ rating by the Better Business Bureau. Tax Network USA has saved their clients over $1 billion in tax debt. Whether you owe taxes, you got complicated matters that require tax planning, maybe hit that parlay that's going to need some correct filing. You need to file that. Call 1-800-549-1000. Visit tnusa.com/lockedon. That's tnusa.com/lockedon. See the link. If you're watching me on YouTube, see the link right there. That's all the description you need for Tax USA, Tax Network USA. Chuck Freeman here, back on Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Taping this, of course, recording this in the overnight hours, late night on the West Coast for the MIlwaukee Brewers. Another one coming up on Wednesday. No afternoon game Wednesday. Normally you see Monday, Tuesday, and then a final game, an afternoon game. It's another night game in Anaheim, 8:35, that first pitch, Sirius XM, the XXM app, search Brewers, and you're going to get all 162 of Brewers baseball, the home team call on Sirius XM. All right. Christian Yelich, his 200th home run of his career, said on the post game that he thought that on the post game he said something that, well, I thought I would do this a little earlier in my career. It wasn't the case. He's been battling injuries. There's nothing much you can do about it. He's gone through all those injuries and all that. And he said, yeah, I kind of figured I'd do this a couple of years ago. And I was thinking, oh yeah, because he's battled all these injuries. I get that. So Yelich's 200th career home run got the Brewers off to a great start. 2-0, just like Bowers did the previous night. And I was thinking about this with Ryan Braun in the broadcast booth a couple of days ago, and they're talking about he's going to be on the Walk of Fame. There's no doubt Yelich will be on the Walk of Fame as well outside of AmFam Field. The debate is whether or not Braun's jersey is going to be retired. And now with Yelich, his first couple of years, MVP, you thought, okay, he's on his way to having a statue Well, I don't think he's going to have that statue just yet. And by the way, Braun's not going to have that statue either. But do you think maybe Yelich deserves to have his jersey retire? I think he's on pace again to get back to the old Christian Yelich. If he can finish strong, and I'm saying several years of leading this team, if he leads the Brewers to a World Series championship, boy, does that sound funny? World Series chat. If you're watching my video, you see all the, you see the newspaper from the Journal that the next day when they won the American League championship by beating the Angels, ironically, the California Angels at the time. But if Yelich leads them to a pennant and a World Series championship, and maybe multiple ones, I know I'm pipe dreaming here, but you'd have to consider it, right? If Yelich's the guy who helps, he's one of the better players on the team. But I think Yelich having a solid season. Had 5 hits, went 5 for 6 a couple of Friday nights ago. I would say if he gets back on track like he has, if he maintains this, he puts up some numbers, I could see Yelich's jersey number being retired over Braun's. I could. I don't know about Hall of Fame. That remains to be seen. But if Yelich, the door is still open for him to finish out his career. He's still got a lot of years left. We'll see how that back takes care of him. And that back and that knee has robbed him some years. But Christian Yelich, I could see a situation down the road where his jersey definitely is retired, number 22. And it won't be because of Charlie Moore, all you old schoolers, although we all love Charlie Moore. It'll be because of Christian Yelich. And let's hope he continues on this path. But I would think that he's got to lead them maybe to a World Series championship, or at least get to a World Series. Now, Yount Molitor never led the Brewers to a World Series. But if Yelich did it, I think that would be it right there. Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. When I come back, we'll talk about, it was not a good night for the pitching staff, for the bullpen, that is. The pitching staff, the starting pitching was great. The bullpen, will touch on that and look ahead to what we got coming up on Wednesday with Peralta, who needs to bounce back. That's coming up next here on Locked On Brewers. Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Prize Picks. You can turn $10 into $1,000 in a single game watching your favorite sports this summer. You can make Prize Picks a lineup in as little as 60 seconds. You need to pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and you're locked in. If you're looking for promotions, Prize Picks has got you covered every week. From lowering player stat projections on Tuesdays, which increases your chances of getting a win, to getting your entry fees back if you have a losing lineup on Fridays. Pick your favorite players from the diamond all season long, whether it's strikeouts, RBIs, first inning runs. Take more or less on the stat, add them to your Prize Picks lineup today, and you can win up to 100 times your money with baseball-only lineups on Prize Picks. But what you got to do first on Prize Picks, download the app today, use the promo code Locked On, your first deposit match up to $100. You can't beat that with a drumstick. Hey, how about that? Download the app, Prize Picks, use the promo code Locked On MLB, your first deposit match up to $100. Again, between 2 and 6 players, you multiply them, and obviously your bankroll goes up. You could turn $10 into $1,000 on a single game watching your favorite team. Prize Picks. Download the app today. Also, Policygenius, a great sponsor of us here on Locked On Brewers. I was talking to my kid who was here for Father's Day, just out of college, and I said, you got life insurance? You need to get that. That's important. And I don't know the ins and outs of his work, but sometimes your full-time job, your work, well, in the benefits area, they may not have you covered completely with life insurance. Are you a parent or a caregiver? How would life insurance take care of your loved ones? If you have Policygenius, well, they will help you put you in the right direction. They will help you with life insurance. You can get peace of mind by finding the right life insurance with Policygenius. Head to policygenius.com. Click the link in the description right here that I got. You see that link right there on YouTube? Click that link, and that's going to put you in the right direction on Policygenius. You need to go there because, hey, life insurance is important for your loved ones. Give yourself some peace of mind. Policygenius helps you easily compare your options from America's top insurers with just a couple of clicks. Their award-winning agents can even walk through the process step by step. If you're, bankrupt when it comes to doing stuff like that, they're going to help you. They're going to hold your hand. They're going to help you through it. Policygenius. They have great agents that can help you out. Find the right life insurance for you with Policygenius. Policygenius.com. Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers. 8:38 coming up later on tonight. The Brewers and Angels in Game 3 of the 3-game set. And here we are. The Brewers, once again, have a chance to win their fourth series in a row. Taking on the Angels. The rubber game coming up Wednesday night. You get it on Sirius and Sirius XM app. All right. Before I get to the pitching matchup, Hernandez, a guy they kind of picked up off the scrap heap, got him. I'm not very impressed with Hernandez. We'll see what his shelf life is with the Milwaukee Brewers. They need bodies right now to pitch, and they put him in mop-up duty. And if you're a guy coming in mop-up duty, you better get some outs, all right? You better get some outs. And when you're Hernandez and you come in there with a 6-0 lead, and Murphy's got to go to his closer, well, that doesn't bode well for Hernandez. I have a feeling that Hernandez, we'll see. We'll see down the road how he fits in if they need him. Because some of those guys get activated. Some guys are going to get DFA'd. Maybe Hernandez is one of those candidates. We'll see. Payamps, you got to be better than that. You came in, relieved Hernandez, and you couldn't get anybody out. He was the last line of duty to having to bring in McGill. And you brought in McGill, and McGill's been hit around a little bit lately. Have you noticed that? Nearly gave up the game-time home run in the top of the 9th inning. We talk about it with Sal Frelick making the game-saving catch. But McGill's got to come in there and get outs. All right. Even Sunday, he was on the mound when Blake Perkins threw out that runner at the plate. McGill's got to be getting outs, saves. He got 14 saves. But you know what? Maybe we cut him some slack too as well, because he wasn't supposed to be the closer on this team. He was supposed to be like a 6th, 7th inning guy, hard throwing 6-8 guy coming out of the bullpen. So we're putting him in a spot that maybe he wasn't ready for, but he's done a great job. Although lately it's been a little edge of your seat watching him on the mound. Thank goodness that Sal Frelick pulled that ball into the park on Tuesday night, and the Brewers maintain their 6.5 game lead on St. Louis, 8 games on Cincinnati, 8 on Pittsburgh, 8.5 on the Cubs. Sure sounds good, but they needed to win this one. But man, you look at it, the Brewers have played some, last Friday, they almost let that one slip away. Sunday, almost let that one slip away. This one, I don't like their chances if it went the extra innings. Do not like their chances. Momentum was on the side of the Angels, who don't have a lot of talent at all, but they have just been feisty against the Brewers. All right, final game, as I mentioned, coming up Wednesday. Tyler Anderson, I've seen some reports out there, some bloggers out there actually, thinking that maybe the Brewers would be interested in Tyler Anderson. His contract looks affordable for the Brewers, under some control, and maybe the Brewers would give up a prospect or two for Tyler Anderson, who might be on the shelf. I should say might be on the trading block with the Angels. We'll see. He faces Freddy Peralta. Peralta did not pitch well in his last outing, gave up 10 hits. He got off the hook. The Brewers came back and won the game in his last outing, saved him, but he did not have a good outing in his last outing. 10 hits was one of his worst outings, if not the worst outing of the year for Freddie. Let's see what Freddie does. Willie Mays passed away. Never saw him play, way before my time. Never played at County Stadium against the Milwaukee Brewers. He played at County Stadium against the Milwaukee Braves back in the days in the 50s and 60s, but never played against the Milwaukee Brewers. Willie Mays passed away at the age of 93, an absolute icon. And if you go to Twitter, Dave Fleming from KNBR Radio, the Giants, was reading the news on air about Willie Mays and was overcome with emotion. Obviously, Mays, the all-time great San Francisco Giant, jersey retired, and Dave Fleming doing the play-by-play was in tears. You could tell, reading the news that Willie Mays had passed away. Sorry to see that. Willie Mays had a great life, man, and did a lot for Major League Baseball. One of the greatest players of all time, no question about it. The great Willie Mays. Chuck Freeman, Locked On Brewers. You get us on Google, Spotify, Apple, we're on all the major downloads. Please hit me up on YouTube. Search Locked On Brewers, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell. There's a comment section on YouTube. I always read it. I read your responses. Sometimes you guys unwarranted will tweet right at me, and I love that, man. On Twitter, hit me up on Twitter, Chuck Freeman, FREIMUND. Let's get 2 or 3 in this series, guys, against the Angels. We'll see you all tomorrow night, late night again. Chuck Freeman, Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day.